Hello and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. I am Precious Chukidi. We begin with the front pages of the papers this morning, starting off with Vanguard. And Vanguard is leading with at Vanguard Economic Discourse that happened yesterday, how to fight inflation by NESG, OPS, other stakeholders. The writer says one against over-reliance on monetary policy instruments, points way forward on inflation growth. Only drastic measures will make the difference in 2023. That's come from NESG. CBN will deploy available tools to tackle inflation. That's coming from Emefiele. A multiple forex rate must be eliminated. That's coming from Nasima. Government agency tout frustrating manufacturers. That's coming from Man. Fiscal measures must complement monetary policy. Emerging African capital. Economy haunted by many leakages, and that's coming from Awoshika. All right, we're on page 8. NJC OK's appointment of 84 new judges, 9 heads of court, reps to security agencies, arrest oil marketers behind fuel scarcity. Stories above. Glamour, Awashika chairs Vanguard Personality of the Year Awards as Dangote others steps forth for gallants. Fuel scarcity, Naira redesign plots to sabotage poll. That's coming from TINUBU. Over 70 killed in Nasarawa Niger airstrike explosion. Stories below we have a polls. US announces visa ban on Nigeria's undermining democracy. All right, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with Tinubu jabs federal government alleges sabotage refuel crisis, Naira redesign. The writer says attacking Buhari won't save you from defeat. Article mocks Tinubu. Stop going to Abeokuta. Obi turns Tinubu. Marketers hot fuel finds alibi in revised Lagos State government directives on operations. Marketers may sue NNPC over inability to deliver PMS. Again, Buhari backs to PMS tracking as petrol scarcity persists. Stories above. Ikone, PDP has 14 days to conduct fresh primaries, lawyers declare. Dozen killed in Nasarawa Benue, Niger border airstrike bomb blast. US announces visa ban on Nigerians undermining polls democracy. Senate ignores the consideration. Passage of 22.7 trillion naira ways and means. Stories below we have crisis in rivers deepens as destruction of campaign billboards escalates. Rep Films reschedule meeting with CBN on Naira redesign. Well, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with Tinubu, fifth columnist behind petrol scarcity, Naira redesign row. They plot to embarrass Buhari, scuttle election. Those plotting to deal with me won't win election, says Wike. Stories above. Impeachment. Ekiti court orders parties to fire processes. Bomb blast kills of 51 in Nasarawa. Victims get mass burial. How Africa can banish food insecurity by Buhari. All right, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with recent crisis aimed at stopping me. That's what Tinubu is saying. Says Naira redesign, fuel scarcity designed to scuttle poll. Tinubu trying to blackmail Buhari. That's coming from Atiku campaign team. Allegations unfair. Fuel crisis perennial, says marketers. On page 6, we have Ikpeazu Ohanaeze mounts Abia PDP governorship candidate. Suspends as tribunal decides Adeleke Oyetola suit Friday. Parties back US visa ban on election riggers. Stories above. Duty hike. Used vehicle imports fall by 40%. Federal government budgets 1.2 trillion naira to service CBN loans. Banks ration new notes. Emefiele shuns rep. Lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, voting article will be mistake, says a whistleblower. That's all we can take on the front pages of the papers. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining, it's still today in the news on Vanguard Live. I am Precious Chukudi. And joining me this morning is Mr. Oludari Mayowa, publisher of Global Financial Digest. Good morning, sir. It's good to have you join me this morning.
Good morning, and glad to be here this morning.
All right, let's delve into what we have this morning. And of course, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, along with leading organized private sector for financial experts, have warned against that's excessive reliance on monetary policy instrument, and they're saying that this monetary policy instrument cannot address Nigeria's macroeconomic headwinds successfully. What's your take?
Thank you very much. I agree with them in the sense that raising interest rates has a limited impact on the how to drive down inflation and how to drive that, because it has its own impact, a variable impact on the economy. One, when you are raising interest rates, that means you are pushing the cost of borrowing by businesses higher, which means you are reducing the ability to borrow for production, and then we impact the production in the economy. If there is a reduction in production, definitely there will be high inflation, because few goods are available for a lot of money in the system. And don't forget too that despite the increase in the benchmark interest rate of CBN, CBN is still borrowing money to the federal government. It's like you are opening a tap into a bowl, and you are bailing out water from the bowl or from the drum. You know, the first thing for you to do is to close the tap if you want to empty the drum. But if you open the tap and try to empty the drum, it's just effort and fertility, and that's what the CBN is doing. You are trying to increase the interest rate so that it can reduce the volume of cash in the system. Again, you are printing more Naira note and giving to the federal government to spend, injecting to the same system. So it has a counter impact on the system. So for me, I agree with them. Monetary policy is not enough. The federal government has to control its borrowing, has to reduce the borrowing, domestic borrowing, so that we can have a balanced policy to maintain economic growth.
They also noted that the cost push inflationary pressures have, pushed more Nigerians into poverty. Also, that the printing of, money has, fueled inflation. What do you think about it?
Yeah, that's what exactly I'm trying to explain. The more you print money, you have about 22 trillion naira printed money given to the federal government to spend, and you are trying to mop up money from the system. It's a effort in futility, and government have to ensure that, and there's a law that prevents them from borrowing to certain limit to the federal government. So it's government have to see that both money policy authority and the fiscal policy authority, that is CBN and the finance minister, have to sit down and actually agree on how to tackle inflation, how to ensure economic in this system. Because if businesses cannot borrow to finance new production or to expand their production, then definitely there will be reduction in available product in the system. Then if you have available product in the system, then inflation continue to rise. Then economic impact on the standard of living of Nigeria will continue to reduce. So these are the measures that government need to do. There's a limit to the impact of interest rate hike on the economy. So there's a limit. This can impact inflation. Driving inflation, that is not enough. You say that you cannot achieve that through multiple tools. You can only achieve that through balanced policy of government. So the two of them have to sit down together and agree on what to do in a way forward. And you can imagine we are subsidizing fuel, yet subsidizing fuel price, yet people are buying above the fixed price. So these are part of the effect of inflation in the system. People are buying 250, 270, 300 across the nation. So what are we saying? Government is wasting money on the other hand in subsidizing fuel. On the other hand, the people are not getting the impact or the subsidy on the product.
All right, let's move ahead and talk about this. So now the House of Rep has asked relevant security agencies to fish out oil marketers and other economic saboteurs who might be responsible for the fuel scarcity across the country. What's your take on it?
I think that's the wrong approach to solving the problem. The reason is that government has already provided a conducive environment for arbitration. And in any economy, even in US, in UK, people will take arbitrage, people will take advantage of scarcity. And people will take advantage of that scarcity to make money. Business people are willing to make money. If fuel, for example, is selling for 250 somewhere else and selling as 184 somewhere else, people are at that environment once before we migrate, we move such product to where it can make more profit. So that's why we are already encouraging arbitration on fuel in Nigeria as long as we have disparity in rate and caused by scarcity. People will take advantage, and there's no way you can arrest. There's no way you can curtail it because the marketer will compromise the security agency, the compromise all those who you are sent to arrest them. So at the end of the day, it will not be, Nigeria will be the loser at the end of the day. What government should do is that to ensure that we have the product in the market, that people can have access to it at the control price or at the fixed rate, or otherwise let them remove the source of arbitraging. That means what is encouraging arbitraging system? That government should remove the subsidy so that we can know that we have the same price in Lagos and Ibadan, or probably a little variety, variable, so that it will not encourage people to take advantage of price differences. Otherwise, the same situation will continue. That's where I look at it.
Of course, there are uneven pump prices across the country in various filling stations. But people are beginning to speculate that just maybe the government might be, taking out subsidy, begin to remove subsidy. Do you think that might be the case?
Yeah, of course, you have to understand the logic behind the scarcity. Number one, the government is spending so much money to subsidize the product, and there's a reduction. Definitely, there's a reduction in the importation of that fuel because we're not refining locally. So government is trying to reduce its expenditure on subsidy. So they have cut back on importing of that product to the system. So that encourages scarcity. And there are many people in Nigeria today in the last 2 months have been buying fuel for 250 naira per liter. So I would rather prefer to buy it and to drive to the city station and buy it, and the product is available, than to be struggling, putting myself in jeopardy, in dangers, in order to procure the same product at higher price. So I think what the government is trying to do, or the agents of government is trying to do, is to force Nigeria to call for the withdrawal of the fuel subsidy so that we can have the product. So if you can have access to the product at whatever price, as long as you can, everybody can do price around that cost. And we can go about our normal duty rather than people go and sleep in the filling station in the airport to buy fuel for movement. You are already in that movement, you are already in that productions. So I think yeah, you can agree that it's a tactics by the agency of government to force in Nigeria to agree for government to reduce subsidy. But either we like it or not, rightly or wrongly, the subsidy on fuel is not having the right impact on the people, on the economy. So the best bet is for government to gradually remove the subsidy from the product so that the product can be available for people to buy. And I can say before they remove the subsidy, government should fix the refinery to ensure that we have refinery working so that we can at least have the advantage of having the product refined in Nigeria so that we can eliminate tariff, demurrage and the rest from the input of the costing. For me, that is the way I look at it.
All right, let's move ahead and talk about this one. Now, Bola TINUBU has alleged that the current fuel scarcity and Naira redesign are part of plots by some cabals to sabotage the general election. Do you agree with him?
Bola TINUBU has been fixated in Abeokuta. Abeokuta has been a place where they cry out in Yoruba. And the last time he cried out, he go back to the primary and won the primary. Again, he has raised another conspiracy theory again, saying that the fuel scarcity, the Naira design is meant to sabotage the election. It's not sabotage the election. What he's actually saying is that to sabotage him winning the election, and probably accusing his own political party, his government as a political party put in that place. I don't know what he has seen. I don't know what he have heard for saying that. But for me, it's a sign that Bola TINUBU is jittery, that his political party, his government are not supporting. Probably what he wants from the government is to put all the machinery of government to back him also so that he can win the election. Probably he's not seeing that. So he's crying out or a crying wolf, probably to again force the hand of the government to do something to back his ambition. It's neither here nor there. For me, it's typical of TINUBU anyway. He has done that before, and probably going to be. And politicians, we only want to do twisting tactics just to get support in any way.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's move ahead and talk about this. And the United States government has announced visa restrictions on some Nigerians accused of undermining democracy, and they've also said that certain family members of such persons may also be subject to those restrictions. What's your take on it?
Yeah, it's a good measure by the US to support our democracy process. But again, you are looking at it, what has been the impact of that visa restrictions? Atiku Abubakar has not been to US in the last, probably, okay, yes, he recently went to US. Tinubu has not been to US in the last, how long, for example, and many of them like that. So what impact will they have on some of them, really? As long as they can get their way here. If they get to government through cook and beans, probably they don't even need the American visa, they can go to other countries. Yes, it's a good measure for America to signal to project that we have a cane for you. We prevent you from coming to our country if you participate in the election rigging or supporting the election. It's a good signal that they are supporting that democracy process. But again, I doubt the impact, what impact it will really make on those who are hell-bent on sabotaging or rigging the election and frustrating the process.
All right, let's move ahead to Mr. and Mrs. And Mr. is speaking this morning. He says that the bank gave you access to loans, business opportunities, holiday abroad, etc. Wait a minute, do you also have access to the bank manager? And Mrs. replies, she says yes. And Mr. says, oh God, I'm dead. And then Mrs. replies, come on, the manager is a woman.
So where's the married to the manager? What goes to your mind is, hey, that must be a man, then that something must be going on there. So, it's very exciting and a very comical way of cooling the tension in the country. I love them. That was a good one.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Udai Mayowa, publisher of Global Financial Digest. Thank you for sharing your thought with us this morning.
Thanks for having me today, and have a blessed day.
Yeah. Also, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp number is also displayed there. You can go to our website, www.vanguardngl.com, to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi, and thank you for watching.